These batteries, incidentally, are just a little outdated. They have a date of them, May 1926, so I think they're probably a little bit dead. But that was the kind of batteries that was used. Now this is a commercially built set. That was a portable set. It folded up and had a handle on it, and it could be taken out with headphones again. Then a lot of people built their own radios. Now here is a homemade set. They wound the coils themselves, and all this is all wired and soldered. Some of these solder joints aren't the best, but I'm sure it worked. Now this metal, this copper here, was put inside because on some of these early radios, when they would go into oscillation, if you would bring your hand up close to the set, it would change the tuning and change the oscillation. So by putting this copper screen in here, that helped avoid that problem.
The last part of the tape.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The ordinary type headset, there were many different varieties. This happens to be a Cannonball Dixie. This one is one of the popular brands was the Brandeis, B-R-A-N-D-E-S, and a good pair of headphones would cost about $7.50. I remember saving $7.50, and I got a pair of Stromberg Carlson. That was a real great headphone, and they had 2,000 ohms. That was the big deal. Nobody knew why you wanted to have them 2,000 ohms impedance, but that was a lot better than the 1,000 ohms. Then the Baldwin headphone came out. It was a little different principle. It had a moving coil in it and a moving diaphragm, and it was a different construction than the other type headset, and it was actually louder. It had a permanent magnet in here, and the vibrations caused this little diaphragm to move back and forth, and that was attached to this diaphragm here. And it was so loud that you could put this headphone in a bowl and put it on the dining room table, and the whole family could sit around the table and listen to the radio. Then also somebody got the ingenious idea that if you just took this cap off and made a mounting with some threads on it here, that you could fasten it on to the phonograph pickup, take the phonograph pickup off your mechanically operated phonograph and screw this on, and then hook the device onto the phonograph so that you use the phonograph speaker as a horn, and so then everybody sat around the phonograph and listened to the radio. This receiver here, going back a little ways, this dates back to about 1920. This particular receiver was owned by Mr. Kiroff, who started radio station KHJ. Now he was also an amateur, a radio amateur, and but this is a piece of commercial gear. This is built by Kennedy, and this probably cost in the neighborhood of maybe $250 or $300 back in those days. Now, not too many people could afford it. To look at this device, you'd think that it was a very, very complicated radio and had probably 25 tubes. But if you look into the top of it, you'll see that it has only one tube. And this tube was operated as a regenerative receiver, and it had many different layers of coils that you could switch in by turning these different taps down here, so that it was possible to tune the entire, not only the entire broadcast band, but also the shortwave bands and the long wave radio. In the early days, it was very popular to listen to the Arlington time signals coming from station NAA in Arlington, and those were on very low frequencies, so you had to use a lot of turns of coil to receive that signal. Now then, let's go from the headphone to a different type of loudspeaker. Let me reach over here and get this. This was the next type of